Thank you for coming out to what's going to be officially known as the second annual Fall Crawl. We want to make this into a regular tradition on this side of town. We have our guest speaker here, Kevin Doffing with Combined Arms. We'll give him really the magic sauce behind what you guys are doing over there for veterans families, and take as much time as you want. We're here until 3 o'clock. Now go ahead, and I'm going to actually report from the back of the room.
So, like Todd said, my name is Kevin Doffing. I'm currently the COO with Combined Arms. So, I've been at a lot of events like this. I used to own a retail business selling safety equipment to oil and gas companies, steel toe boots, hard hats, everything in between. So, have done the payment systems, done the tech integrations, have failed at marketing. Basically, I've failed at everything that everybody did. So, thank you for what you're doing from small business owners, or recovering small business owner. I went into the military after my time at Texas A&M. Towers fell my sophomore year, and I felt compelled to get engaged. And so after I graduated, I enlisted. It was one of those times they let anybody in, so I was lucky enough to get in. And they gave me a college option program so I could go to Officer Camp School and got my commission that way. Then I got the privilege of spending 15 months of fun in the sun, as I call it, in Iraq during the surge and the Sunni awakening. So I got to see a little bit of everything. And then when I came back, I decided I didn't want to stay in the military, so I got out, took a job with a big company, not really knowing what to do, but that's what everybody else was doing. So I was just kind of, it's like following your big brother holding his pocket, like, okay, I guess everybody else is doing this. And hated working in a big company. Absolutely hated it. I had no idea what I was getting in for, and it was miserable. And they didn't like me either. But that's okay, because it was 2008, and I was working in a company that was diversified, but was primarily a car part manufacturer. So I was not long for this world in the corporate America, because it was last in, first out. And so I had the opportunity to then start thinking about, okay, what do I actually want to do with my life? And kind of work through that using military decision-making process, and arrived at being a small business owner. Called my dad, hey Dad, I'm thinking about it. I think that I want to run small business. I want to give people the kind of lives that I want to have and empower my employees. What do you think? Well, if you think you're going to come in here and tell me what to do after running this place for 35 years, you can go shut the front door. It's not exactly what he said, but close enough for people recording me. But he's like, well, but I'm 67, so what the hell? So with that rousing encouragement, I moved back to Houston, found out the business was about to go under. We were almost out of money, and sales had taken a 50% hit. So I started working about 100 hours a week and was making $400 a week. So if you work that math out, I should have turned myself in for not paying myself enough. But that's not what we do as business owners. We just figure it out and we keep driving. So over time, things started to look really good. Multiple locations. We quadrupled the company's revenue in 5 years. And then I was lucky enough to experience what a major economic downturn feels like in the oil and gas industry as 2015 hit, right as I was having a baby and launching my third store. So, and everyone's like, don't worry, it'll be a few months. So that didn't quite work out that way. But instead of laying off some of my staff, what I decided to do was start consulting, and I started by working a few different projects, and I took an interim executive director position with the Lone Star Veterans Association, where I've been on the board for a few years. So at the time, we'd just seen a kind of carousel of leadership kind of come through the door, and I just knew that the organization was poised for so much more. I got a lot out of being connected to a community of veterans, and I wanted to see that flourish. That's why I joined the board. And as the executive director, that was really part and parcel of what I wanted to achieve. Giving people a place to call home. If you look at the research, when veterans are looking for care or access to help, the first place they turn is not a crisis line, it's not the VA, it's not a professional healthcare provider, it's their friends and family. And those friends and family, to the point that this young lady was making earlier, will destigmify and encourage them to seek out professional health care, mental health care, whatever that care is. And then they're actually going to get into the care that they need. But they actually find that that first touch, that family and friends, is twice as valuable as the licensed professional. Now, you need licensed care when you're going through something really hard, but the reverse is true if you think about it. If you don't have a strong interpersonal network that you can access at 1 a.m., you're twice as likely to never seek out professional care when you need it. So, if we're going to get ahead of things and not try to catch people when they're at their end of their rope, but when they can be safe before they have a bottle or a gun to their head, we need to create a community that is going to lift people up, get them into better jobs, be a quicker, faster safety net, so before they slide down the rope to the end, we help them climb up it faster. And that's what I believe the community does. And so with Lone Star Veteran Association, what we started doing was finding niche populations of veterans that are overrepresented but underserved, and making sure that they feel like they're a part of the broader community base. So we have over 10,000 members. We have members inside the LGBT community group. We have a second annual LGBT military ball coming up next month. This is the only one of its kind in the country. We have a veteran Christian group, because a lot of times the Christian messaging and programming that's associated with veterans is typically driven towards crisis intervention, substance abuse, and those are really great things to have. But like a friend says, the message works on other days that don't end in Sunday. So, we want to make sure that the message of Christian faith is driven home for other aspects, that veterans are aggregated and collected around their professional identity, their careers in energy or technology, or the fact that they were Eagle Scouts together, that they're a spouse of a military serving veteran. We want to make sure that all these tight identity groups that people tightly align with all kind of coalesce and come together, not as different stovepipes or segregating our community, but segmenting it and driving home really tangible, impactful content that drives them out and pulls them together, but as they're a part of a whole. So we're building a foundation of many bricks, but still part of one veteran community. Now, we went through a merger last March. It was kind of an effort I had for a couple of years, where Combined Arms is really building the house that all of these member agencies that provide direct services, like Lone Star Veteran Association, kind of did. And the analogy, Lone Star Veteran Association is building the foundation of the community. Combined Arms really houses them, everybody together, by bringing these direct service programs that do really great mental health work, or benefits assistance, or job placement, or job training, workforce development, peer-to-peer mentoring, peer-to-peer networking, running groups, emergency response, all these really different facets and functions of the military community under one house. They're narrow and focused, but that lets them be the pillars of the community and stand tall. And then it ties it in with an overarching technology solution so that we can refer resources to one another. Because if you don't have, this is how classical veteran services go. Here, I want you to get connected to somebody. Bye. And then if you get bunches of them, you might lose them all. Because maybe you got lost in it. Maybe